The modern bike is a fantastic thing, and there are loads of features and technology on modern bikes that we all take for granted, but it wasn't always this way. Loads of products, when they first launched, were met with very cynical views indeed. People saying they were unnecessary, pointless, and wouldn't catch on. Well, catch on, they most definitely did. And these are some of my nominations for tech we take for granted, starting with electronic shifting. When Shimano first launched Di2, its name for electronic shifting group sets way back in 2009, people were of the opinion that it was pointless, a gimmick, and would never catch on. Well, it definitely caught on, didn't it? As most people aspire to own a bike with electronic shifting. That's because people thought electronic group sets would be unreliable, the batteries would last 5 minutes, and there would be issues compared to the reliability of proven mechanical group sets. But electronic group sets have proven to be ultra reliable. The batteries last for ages and are easy to charge. The shifting performance is flawless all the time with no cable stretch and work in all conditions, even the most horrendous muddy conditions. The group sets still work extremely well, and it's allowed improved aero frame design with easier packaging of the shifting components in those frames. Don't get me wrong, I love a mechanical group set. It's lightweight, reliable, no batteries to go flat, and the shifting performance is fantastic. But it seems that mechanical group sets reached the end of their evolution, and the only way forward was electronic shifting. And there's no denying the functionality of electronic shifting. Press a button, it's that easy, and you can customize it through the app as well. And yeah, that is the way bikes have gone for the last 10 or 15 years. And the future is definitely all about electronic shifting. So a technology, when it first came out, people were of the opinion it wouldn't catch on. Well, it most definitely has caught on, and most of us now take it for granted. Hands up if you ride a bike with carbon fibre wheels. Most likely the majority of you watching today's video, but it wasn't always this way. It took a long time for carbon fibre wheels to develop and get to a point where they were reliable and safe, and people would trust them, because trust was a big issue for early carbon fibre wheels when failures of carbon wheels were more prevalent than they are these days. They would fold over at the sight of a dog in the middle of a road. Early carbon wheels were insanely expensive and more prone to overheating with rim brakes before disc brakes came along and made that braking surface a redundant feature on carbon wheels. And carbon wheels offered a harsher ride than aluminium wheels of the era as well. But the big benefit of carbon was a more aerodynamic design with less weight compared to an aluminium rim in a similar profile. And once the manufacturers figured out how to make a carbon wheel set safe and reliable, well, the rest is history. And now the prices have come down a lot, with lots of manufacturers making carbon wheels and an onslaught of Chinese carbon wheels, making the price of a carbon wheel set pretty attainable for more people. Wide range gearing and compact chain sets and big cassettes have made a big difference to road bikes and made road cycling more accessible for more people. You no longer need to be a pro to muscle a road bike around a hilly course. Go back 20 years or longer and road bikes had big chain sets and tiny small cassettes with 6, 7 or 8 sprockets. But these days we have compact gearing, big cassettes, 11, 12 speed, and a bigger range and easier low gears to make riding up hills much more accessible for those of us who aren't pros, who aren't riding 30 hours a week. Because back in the old days, if you wanted a bike with easier lower gearing, you had to buy a touring bike with a triple chain set to get the low gears you needed. But then Shimano came along with the compact chain set and basically changed the game, made road cycling way more accessible for more people. And that, along with bigger cassettes from 1123 when I used to race to now 1130, 1134 and SRAM 1036, making riding up hills and mountains way easier, allowing you to spin a gear and not blow your knees apart as you grind a big old gear. So not the most exciting or glamorous technology on a bike, but one we definitely take for granted compared to 10 or 20 years ago. Hydraulic disc brakes is definitely a technology I know I take for granted on a modern bicycle, and I know lots of people watching also feel the same way. And yes, there are still fans of rim brakes, and rim brakes still have their place, But for me, I know disc brakes has been a big game-changing technology on a modern bicycle, and it's not a conspiracy by the bike manufacturer to sell more bikes, because when disc brakes first arrived in about 2013, so a long time ago, bikes were available with rim brakes or disc brakes, and for a long time you had a choice of rim brakes or disc brakes, but more people chose disc brakes because they are better than rim brakes. Controversial, I know. If disc brakes hadn't proven to be better than rim brakes, then rim brakes would have carried on being the main braking choice on a bicycle. But disc brakes have many advantages. And as a cyclist based in the UK, the extra confidence and safety of disc brakes, the extra stopping power over rim brakes, just made disc brakes a no-brainer. And once they figured out how to make disc brakes reliable and lightweight and well integrated into the frame design, the rest is history. They are just safer, they offer more consistent braking, they work better in the wet and crappy conditions, and they're now the common choice on all bikes. And even the pros now race disc brakes. There was a lot of issue around disc brakes being embraced by the pro peloton and the UCI allowing them or not allowing them. But that now seems like a crazy saga that happened a long time ago, and I can't imagine going back to a bike with rim brakes given the benefits of disc brakes for the riding I do, and lots of people watching the video also do as well. Something else we all take for granted these days is how easy building a professional looking website is with today's sponsor, Squarespace. And building a website with Squarespace really is very simple, quick and easy breezy. All you have to do is choose from a massive library of templates, and you customize that template from the layout, the colors, the font, dragging images, and then choose plugins for that website to tailor it for your needs. Whether you're a bike shop and need to sell online products with an easy, quick payment available through Squarespace, or build a portfolio website if you're a photographer, or plan newsletters, run online courses, take bookings online, there's no limit to the options available on Squarespace to build a website for any purpose. Or you can choose AI and answer a few simple questions, and a bespoke custom website is built for you in seconds. It will choose the colors, the text, the layout, and all the plugins you need, build that website for you, bespoke to your very needs. So 2 different methods to build a website, but both super easy. And it wasn't this easy 20 years ago when building a website required understanding of HTML and other coding languages. So Squarespace, transformed how easy building a website is. And you find for yourself how easy and great building a website with Squarespace is with no strings attached by starting a free trial today with a link down below in the description of today's video. And if you enjoy it, which I'm sure you will, there's 10% of your first purchase of a brand new website or domain name with my special code on screen right now, and also down below the video as well. So head over to Squarespace right now to upgrade your online presence with a brand new website for 2026. The advent of the smart trainer and indoor training software definitely revolutionized how many of us ride a bike through the winter, especially in the UK when it's raining, it's dark and it's cold, and definitely made riding a bike indoors much easier and much more enjoyable and much more sociable than ever before. I still remember training for racing 20 years ago on a dumb trainer with a control on the handlebar and following a written out pyramid training plan, and it was horrendous. The time would go by so slowly, it felt awful. You only did it because it was a good way to get fit during the winter and do intervals on a trainer in the safety of your house or garage. But now with smart trainers, they feel realistic, they feel just like riding outside, and the software available from MyWhoosh, Ruby and Swift have made riding indoors something that lots of people actually enjoy, because of the whole virtual world, the whole community. There's online racing, there's clubs you can join, there's leagues, you can ride with your mates indoors, and it made riding a bike through the winter indoors, where it's safer and it's dry and it's comfortable, just beyond recognition. So that is definitely a technology that many of us take for granted these days compared to 20 years ago when it wasn't available at all. So definitely it's helped to revolutionize cycling for many people, and definitely something I'm glad has come along, because I can't imagine riding indoors like I used to 20 years ago when I had to, when I was trying to race and get fit. These days, I don't have the motivation to do that horrendous training plan, but with an online training software package, it's actually enjoyable. The adoption of wide tyres is a recent trend and one that's definitely taken me by surprise because roadies are often reluctant to embrace new technologies like disc brakes and electronic shifting and carbon fibre frames and wheels. But wide tyres has been openly embraced by lots of people. Yes, there are still people out there who say a 23mm wide tyre at 120 psi is just fine. But for many sensible people who believe the science and have tried wide tyres, there is no going back to a narrow, skinny racing tyre. But when wide tyres first came along, people thought they'd be slow, they'd be heavy, the pros won't use them. But now the pros are using wide tyres, 28s and 30s and 32s, and many of us amateurs are going wider. 34, 35, even 40mm wide tyres are possible on a modern road bike these days, which is something, if you asked me 20 years ago, I would have laughed at you. The idea of running a 40mm slick tyre on a road racing bike 20 years ago seemed crazy when a 23mm tyre at max pressure was the way to go. But these days we know that wide tyres at low pressures are better. They're faster, they're smoother, more comfort, more traction, more control, more safety, just more good things than skinny tyres. The only downside to wide tyres is often buying a new road bike to allow you to have space to fit wide tyres. And that really is driving a lot of new bike upgrades going to frames with space for wide tyres and also wide rims for wide tyres too. And once you try wide tyres, there is no going back. And for me right now, my go-to setup is a 30mm wide tyre, tubeless, at about 55 psi on a road racing bike. And it's not slow, it feels fantastic, it feels fast, and it feels comfortable and reassuring in crappy conditions and even in dry, through the corners with loads of cornering grip. So wide tyres is definitely one trend, a technology that's caught on and really surprised me in how it's been embraced by so many people. And finally, radar rear lights is a technology, a product that many people now take for granted because once people try a radar rear light, they become converted to the benefits and there's no going back to a regular rear light. And when they first arrived, people were cynical about them. Like, I mean, who needs a radar rear light? What can you do with the information of a car approaching you? But when you try it, it makes a big difference to how you ride on the road, the space you take on the road, and just your awareness of cars around you and having that extra alert, the early warning system of a car approaching, and the way a radar rear light can change the brightness and the flash mode based on a car approaching it to go from a solid state low mode to a bright flashing mode to let that car know that a cyclist ahead. So that's a technology that people, when it first arrived, and even now still call it a gimmick and unnecessary. But I know so many people in real life and here on YouTube that have tried it and there's no going back to a regular rear light. And I use a radar rear light all the time when I'm riding around the quiet country lanes here in the Cotswolds on my own. Having a radar rear light is, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't you? Those then are some of the modern tech features and products that I think many of us take for granted these days. But do you agree or disagree? What have I missed? Let me know by dropping a comment down below. And to see a video on some of the products that definitely sucked compared to the products in today's video, then watch this one up here. And of course, make sure you are subscribed to the channel by hitting the button just there. But that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.